our people how to make it really serious for them. So yeah, there's real money in it. Here's an example, and this one is also probably a little small, but this was a gentleman that came out to the Info Summit. And Ken is a lawyer out in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He said, we put on 2 seminars a year, but it never used sponsors, and at best, we were breaking even. We bought the package, brought it back home, and using Ron's ideas, we're able to get 15 sponsors. What this meant to our association was extra income of around $35,000 and dramatically increased bottom line. All I can tell you is if you're not using sponsors, is you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Funny thing happened. We had one of our chapter members in San Diego that bought the system. Her name's Estelle. Her husband Wade. They put on a seminar for holistic healing, and she came up to me about a month after she bought the system from me. She came about a month at the chapter meeting. She goes, "I need to talk to you." I thought, oh God, I'm in trouble now, right? What have I done? And she goes, no. I said, hey. She goes, I bought your system. I go, good. Yeah, did you read it? She goes, oh my God, we stayed up that night and read the whole thing. And she goes, well, I tell you what, we've got a problem. And what's your problem? She goes, well, we went right out of the chute, and we got 5 sponsors for the next month's meeting. And I said, well, that's great. That's terrific. What's your problem? She goes, well, 3 of them now want to hire us to go out and find other events like ours that they can go sponsor as well. She goes, we don't have enough time to do it. I don't know what to do. I said, well, just take it all the way to the bank, Estelle. But that's how the sponsors are out there trying to figure out, well, how do I get to another group like this? Start bringing sponsors out to a group like this. It's a hungry mob, you guys. So they're going to be asking you to help them find other sponsors out there. All right? Number 4. Short of hanging a banner, you've got little value to offer a sponsor. And I see this mistake made all the time. Promise me you won't make this. I see these people that do sponsorships, and it's all they can do is remember to go up there and hang a banner and thank Charlie for today's pizza. Hey everybody, Charlie gave us some pizza. Thanks Charlie, you're the man. Thank you very much. All right, now we're going to talk about it. That was it. That was it. No wonder you're not getting serious money for your sponsorships. They're not getting any value out of that. So again, it's got to be so much more. So for us, again, we have a thing, and unfortunately I can't actually run it for you here, but I can hold it up. This is something that we do. For my money, it's probably the most valuable thing that we do for our sponsors out in San Diego. We bring our sponsors out to San Diego once a year for springtime in San Diego, and we get them all together because it's a year. They spend a lot of money with us. And it's real hard. I can only imagine what it's like when we send them the bill for the next year, and they look at it and they go, yeah, we haven't done this for 6 months. So they forget. Sponsors are forgetful people. They forget all the things that you do for them. So you've got to remind them. So we actually do. We put together a video, and it's called Sponsorship 365, and it kind of is a recap set to music of all the many different ways throughout the course of the year that we promote our sponsors that are sponsors of the National Sports Forum. So that's something that you want to do, just to remind them of what it is. Don't just assume that they know exactly what you're doing, because they don't. They're busy, they've got a lot of things to do, and you might sit there and go, well, I shouldn't have to do this. Yeah, and the question I ask you is, would you rather be right or be rich? You'd rather be rich. So you'd rather go out there and remind those people of what they do so that they never forget that their money is a great investment with you. And number 5, the only value a sponsor can bring to the table is to write you a check. All right? That's a logical train of thought, right? The only thing they can do for you is write you a check. Well, actually, writing you a check is not a bad thing. I'm not against checks. In fact, I'm very, very fond of them. But it's one of what I call the 4 C's of sponsorship. The 4 C's of sponsorship. I told you there was going to be stuff there. First one, like I said, is cash. The 4 C's, the 4 reasons that you want to do sponsorship. One is cash, and cash is king. We talked about that. You do sponsorship because you want to get cash. The second one is, especially for those of you like us that put on events, sponsorship helps you better manage your cash flow. I don't know about your guys' business, but when you put on the National Sports Forum, we probably make 80% of our revenue in the 90 days before the conference. Nobody's paying us now for next year's conference in early February. They just don't. So it's really tough because the bills and my staff keeps wanting to get paid, damn it. Twice a month, right? You got to pay rent, the whole bit. So how do I get cash to come in that when I can't convince people to send us their registration? The answer is sponsorship. We structure our sponsorship deals in such a way that the cash is destined to come in during April, May, June, July to get us through that hurdle. It's one of the best lessons I ever learned in starting my own business. I thought cash was king, and in many cases, cash flow is king. And that's one of the reasons why. It's another reason to get sponsorship. And one thing I'll tell you now, and I don't know if it's on the slides or not, I don't think so, we don't sell one-year sponsorship contracts. Just so that you know that, I'll tell you right up front. If you want to sponsor the National Sports Forum, it's a minimum of 3 years. We have some that sign on for 5. That's a great way to manage your cash flow. You ought to jot that down. Don't sell one year. That's a big mistake that rookies make all the time. They've got a race or an event or a class, or they've got a blog that they want, they'll sell a year. Don't sell a year. Make it worth their while to buy 2. Make it really worth their while to buy 3. That way you've tied up their capital for a long, long period of time, and you can manage the cash flow. Fair enough? Another one. Continuity. This goes to what I just talked about. I know that we are going to get cash. I know exactly what our cash looks like for the next 3 to 5 years from sponsorship. I can't tell you what our attendee cash is going to look like because that could change year to year, but I've got sponsorship cash already locked up, so there's continuity involved there. And the last C is probably one of my favorite C's, and it's one of the most valuable C's that people always look, but one of the great reasons for having sponsorship is cachet. Kind of cash. But I think your grandmother told you, you're known by the company you keep, right? You're known by the company you keep. Well, you may not know anything about the National Sports Forum, but when you look on the website, you see logos like MasterCard, U.S. Postal Service, Motorola, Budweiser, J.D. Powers and Associates, NCR. Those are some of our sponsors. Now, you may not know anything about us, but right off the bat, I get the possession arrow because they're like, well, God, it can't be that bad or all these guys wouldn't be aligned with them. That's a very valuable cash as well, cachet. Okay, build your sponsorship prospects roster. 1, the 3 things that you have to ask yourself. What do you have? What do you have? All right? So we're going to get into this in an example. I hope it's all right. I didn't tell them ahead of time, but I'm going to go through this exercise in about 32 seconds with your own chapter manager here, Steve Cypress. Is that okay? Yeah. I'm going to call him up on stage, and we're going to do this again. So he's not in the room right now. So when he comes in, Steve's like, what? No, I'm right here.
I was just daydreaming about the dollar signs.
Oh, okay. All right, the first question we're going to ask, and so he gets a little bit of heads up, is what do you have? In other words, and we're going to ask this question of him, but tell me about your group. How many people do you have? What's unique about them? What makes them so distinctive? Tell me about it. I mean, some of you might have a product that's very appealing for housewives. Great. I want it. Nobody's going to know what you have more than you do. And if you don't know, ask. Nothing stops Steve from being able to put out a survey to find out more information. What do you have? All right, that's the first thing you've got to answer. Second thing, who else wants what you have? Who else wants what you have? Who wants access? Once you know what you have, then it's a simple enough process. And I'm going to take Jorge home with me because I can see he's the most valuable member of this entire chapter. His name was called a million times before I came up here. So when I call Steve up here, I'm going to ask Jorge to take a few notes here because you guys are going to throw out some possibilities that we have here. But again, who else wants what you have? Maybe it's banks. Maybe it's printers, cell phone, accountants, office supply people. I mean, you're going to add to this list. Maybe it's FedEx or UPS. Any one of those types of people that you have here. Computer retailers, business attorneys, financial planning people. You got to ask yourself, who else wants the people that are in this room? There'll be no shortage. I get 2 questions all the time. This is one of them. This is one of them. The first question I get when I start talking about sponsorship, somebody says, where do I start? And now we're going through the where do I start. Then I'm going to get to the second question. First question is, where do I start? And this is how you do that exercise. The second one else is, who else stands to benefit from your success by what you have? And this one here is a little bit more advanced, but who else stands to benefit by what you have for success? Now, I just picked on Steve a second ago, but again, do you think the people that are renting him this room right here, and he's paying X for this room, wouldn't mind paying 2x and having the room be twice as large, right? If you use the room behind us. So wouldn't they be successful by Steve being successful? Yeah? All right, so they help me, isn't they use that from Jerry Maguire? Help me to help you. I mean, that's his model. Go back to these people here and say, hey guys, how about you help me to get some more money in here? I'm going to market it broader. I'm going to bring in more members here. I'm going to use both rooms. And the guy that he's buying the food from, do you think, you know, if he has to buy twice as much food, that guy would mind? No, of course not. So help me to help you. Okay. So now let's give it a try. Steve, if you would please join me up here. Is that okay I can pick on Steve? All right, come on. Come on, Steve, you don't have all this. Okay.
I'm listening to anything because I already feel like doing it.
All right, hold the microphone. All right, I'll talk loud. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, and you guys help Steve out, all right? He's a slow learner. I've known him for a long time. Okay, Steve, for your group right here, and you have a lot of helpers here, okay? What can you tell me about your group? These are the three things. What do you have? Tell me about your group.
As Chicagoland's sharpest entrepreneurs, business owners, and sales professionals. And they know it.
How many? How many people do you have? How many people come to a typical meeting?
There are about, well, we had seats for like 90 or something, so there's probably about 120 people.
And in your herd, the people that you market to, how many names do you, that maybe aren't in here, but they are people that you communicate with on an ongoing basis?
Thousands.
Thousands. Literally thousands of people.
The list is about 13,000.
13,000, wow. I want to be your agent. All right, so tell me about these people. I mean, again, what do you know about these people in terms of, well, I'll help you out. They're entrepreneurs, business people. Anything else that you can tell me that something is a general, if you were going to write a paragraph about these people, aside from the sharpest entrepreneurs, anything else in particular, product, service suppliers, college educated, things that you know about these people?
Yeah, the ones that are using what we teach are doing really well, even in this economy, and spending money and growing their businesses, even while all their competitors and most of anybody's not.
And that's something that makes them unique, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is not your typical Kiwanis group. Nothing wrong with Kiwanis, but I'm just saying it's a little bit more motivated here. But I mean, this is not a typical service group or anything like it.
I speak at those, and I might speak to 60 people, and 2 might come join us, and the rest just give up.
Okay, so why do these people come? Why do they come?
They're forward-thinking, they're aggressive, and they're positive, marketing-minded business owners.
And
Yes.
what are they looking for? They're obviously here for a reason. They're looking for something. What are they looking for?
Strategies and tactics that work to build their business, even in a recession.
Okay. Now, this one is a little bit more of a generic question. This is where it starts to come into focus. What are some of the common needs that your members have?
Yeah, put that slide back up there. My head was
Isn't this
spinning.
right here, what do they have?
No, the one that listed all the stuff, like how many people need a printer? How many people use printing? How many people have business lunches? How many people have accountants, business attorneys, computer supplies, cell phones?
Okay.
What else?
So,
help me out.
I mean, again, and because really, anybody else want to write, because some of these should be written down. These are all groups that he should be going after. Anybody else think of anything else that you guys buy that kind of in common with the rest